All right, so today I'd like to talk about subdivisions. Subdivisions are sort of the grid of rhythm, if that makes any sense. In music, we have rhythm, which is the organization of patterns to create music. And subdivisions or countings, they sort of go back and forth. People will ask you, oh, what kind of counting is that? Or what subdivisions are you playing? Those two things mean what kind of grid are you using to put your notes and rests into. That can sound kind of confusing, but essentially what it is, like everybody has heard of quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes, those kind of things. That's what we're going to work on today. And over here, I'll show you what they look like. We've got a subdivision of a whole note, a half note, quarter notes, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, 16th notes, 16th note triplets, and 32nd notes. And if we get through all of these, this is going to be the foundation of about 85% of everything you'll ever play, rhythmically speaking. I mean, there are other subdivisions as well, but the basics are these. How many are there? What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 basic ones. And of them, quarter notes, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, and 16th notes are going to be the ones that make up most of what you hear. The other two do occur, 16th note triplets and 32nd notes, but not very often. And then you've also got whole notes and half notes, which also occur, but you're usually in the quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, and 16th note land. Okay, so the best way that we can sort of figure out the subdivisions is you have to equate the speed of what you're playing to something called a quarter note. And if you check out the section on notes and rests, it'll give you a better description of what quarter notes and eighth notes and all of those kind of things are written out. We can also see it here. On my bass drum line, which is this bottom space, this is called a staff. That's called a time signature. You'll get more into that with the notes and rests and stuff like that. But on my bottom line, we've got these things with just a ball and one stem. These are called quarter notes. And what I have a bar of 4/4 time, which means I can fit 4 quarter notes into it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a counting of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice counting 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over till I get it really solid. And then I'm going to say try it on my bass drum. So I'm going to count and play my bass drum at the same time, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And get that really smooth and even. Then to practice my subdivisions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my bass drum like that while counting, and I'm going to, with my hands, play the different subdivisions over top and also count them as well, because it really helps to get it going in your brain to be doing the counting. All timing and subdivisions initially come from your brain. Like your brain has to decide to do something. And so the best way to sort of externalize that is to use counting, because you've got a direct link from your brain to your mouth. You've used it more often than other limbs as far as like learning to play music and stuff. So if we want to actually do some work on counting and stuff like that, the best way to externalize it is to count out loud. It can be tricky at first, but it really helps. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at, say, a whole note. And basically what's happening here is everything is in relation to the quarter note. And we've got 4 of them in this bar. A whole note takes up the entire bar, all the space in the bar. So when I play a whole note on the snare drum, it's going to take up 4 quarter note counts. So it's going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? So I'll do it with this. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's happened here is when I played the snare, I'm playing this note, and I'm playing the bass drums with it. So you hear both happening right there, and then the bass drums continue. And on a drum set, that's what it's going to sound like with a whole note. It's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I don't have the ability to hold my note. But if I was playing a piano or a trumpet or a guitar, where I could strum or play a note and it could last, the note could last, it'd be more like this. Ba, ba, and it would actually, you would hold the note the entire time. Whereas on drums, I can't do that. All I can do is play the first note and wait until the time goes by. So that's your whole note. There are 4 quarter notes in a whole note. So if you ever see a whole note and you got to play it, all you do is hit the note and count 4 quarter note counts, which are these guys down here. The next one here are half notes. And half notes are called half notes because each one takes up half the bar. So I got 4 quarter notes in the bar. Half of 4 is 2. So these half notes are going to get 2 quarter note counts. So I'm going to play my bass drum like the 4 quarter note counts again. And I'm going to play my snare, and each one is going to get 2 counts. So it's going to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? That's pretty easy, whole notes and half notes. Next one here are quarter notes. And quarter notes get 1 count each. There's 4 on a bar, a 4/4 time. So it's going to play along with the bass drum, and it's going to take up 1 count each. Oh yeah, I meant to say with a half note, it's the same kind of thing. If I was playing a trumpet or something, I'd be ba, 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 ba. Each one would get 2 counts. Ba, 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 ba. But on drums, I can't do that. Just playing the note and counting. All right, so now we have the quarter notes, going back to them, and each one gets 1 count. So you're going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or on a trumpet or a guitar or something. Ba, 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 ba. What's going to happen is each one takes up till the next count. You actually hold the note till the next count kind of thing. All right, and now we have 8th notes. And these are different compared to the other ones in the sense that now we're going to have more notes per quarter note. So I've got my 4 notes on the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on my snare drum, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes. That's why they're called the 8th notes. One of them is 1/8 of the whole bar. It takes up 1/8 of the whole bar. And it's 1 of 8. 1/8 note. So, the other thing is instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, what we're going to do is we're going to count ands. Sometimes you'll hear people in dance class go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we're not going to do that. We're going to count ands in between. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Make sense? And so we'll also notice here on the bass drum, there's a bass drum here and a bass drum here. We've got 2 8th notes per bass drum. So this is going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Make sense? And if I was playing a trumpet or something, I'd be ba 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 ba, that kind of thing. So I've got 8 notes fitting in the same space as 4 bass drums which are the quarter notes. So I've got 2 playing per quarter note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right? The other thing that you can think about when you're practicing this is a cool thing that happens on the drums especially is to create things that are twice as fast, all you need to do is fill in this space. If that makes any sense. So if I play my bass drum on quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Play my snare, 1, 2, 3 on quarters, 4, 1, 2, 3. To create eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and I'm just filling in the spaces. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So my right hand keeps the eighth notes going. My left hand just fills in the space halfway in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 Now you can do that with or without the bass drum. You can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That type of thing. And once you're used to that, you can try and alternate your hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Make sense? All right. So that's how you can shift between quarter notes and eighth notes. And you'll be doing a lot of that when you start playing things. Let me skip the eighth note triplets right now, and we'll keep on the same theme of going twice as fast. Because we've had eighth notes up here, and down here we have 16th notes. And 16th notes are twice as fast as eighth notes, just like eighth notes are twice as fast as quarter notes. So if I had 2 notes per bass drum here, now I have 4 notes per bass drum here. So I would have, and instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, what we're going to do is we're going to count 1, E, and A. That'll be our counting. And then you repeat it for each number. So you get 1, E, and A, 2, E, and A, 3, E, and A, 4, E, and A. That's what's going to happen here. Right? So I'm going to play my bass drum like we were. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and maybe I'll go a little bit slower. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and that would be my counting with the bass drums. Now if I were to play it with my hands, I'd be 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. 4 hands per bass drum, and we count them 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now the same thing that we did with the quarter notes and the eighth notes can happen between the eighth notes and the 16th notes. In the sense that if I play quarters on my bass drum, eighth notes with my right hand, and then fill in the spaces with my left hand, I wind up with 16th notes. So let me show you. It'll be 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. Let me do that again. Whoops. But I'll just do it counting eighth notes and then 16th notes to do it a little bit quicker. So you'd be 1 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4. Hopefully that makes sense. And so what you could do is you could do 1 bar of quarter notes, 1 bar of eighth notes, and then 1 bar of 16th notes all in a row. So that would go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4. That's a really good exercise to do, and that'll be the similar kind of thing that you do when you're practicing your subdivisions. You want to switch between the different counts, because that's what happens a lot when you start playing songs and different things. So, so yeah, you had your quarters, your eighths, and your 16th notes. And now, why don't we do 30-second notes? We'll do the hard one. It's not that hard. It's just that it's twice as fast as the 16th notes. Instead of 4 notes per quarter note, we have 8 notes per quarter note. And I don't have any countings written up here because realistically, if you get to the point where you're playing 30-second notes, it's going so fast that you're not going to be able to count them. You know. So here, I'll show you what 30-second notes are like. You can think of it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, 16th notes, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's switching between 16th notes and 30-second notes. And the 30-second notes, the way that I like to keep track of them is I try and just keep track of my right hand playing 16th notes. Because then if I want to create 30-second notes, I fill in the spaces and, you know, I'm doing 4 per quarter note with my right hand with 16th notes. When I fill in the spaces, I wind up with 8, which is 30-second notes. So if I think of things like this, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. That really helps me.